G'day, it's March 21st, so I'm doing another video update. Doesn't feel like we've been doing a lot or have a lot to show, but I'll talk to you about some of the things that we have been doing in the last 3 months. It's just a quick pan around the dam, still looking good. Unfortunately, March has been awfully dry. We've had 11 mils in the 3 weeks. We just had 7 mils just before today. But you can see what's happened here with all the corn. We're getting a lot of baby corn that we planted in November when we had the dam built, but it's all pretty much dying off now. There's still some chia left and some sorghum in between, the last of the sunflowers. But rain really is needed. February was fairly dry as well. So one of the things I did in January when we had 2 helpers here, we got a lot done. We did a fence that goes up the hill, and it goes up to a certain point and then it goes across to our other boundary. So Johan from Norway and I did that, so that took us quite a few days. Do a nice good fence, and yeah, we'll walk around the rest of the place. It's noticeable now that this little mulch garden that we have along here, we started right in the beginning, one of the first kind of new beds that we did. It's clear now that the organic matter has finally started to break down and feed the soil, which has consequently fed the plants. So we've got as many perennials as we can here, lots of different perennials as well as some annuals. I just planted some sunflowers in between, but our grafted peach trees are along the back there, plus some here in the foreground. A lot of baby peach trees coming up as our rootstock, a lot of yacon, some of the older apple trees, but everything, especially when we had really good rains in November, December, January, everything here has grown really well. A lot of sunchoke and other perennials. Some of the legumes are starting to grow now, they're looking good, and I'm already starting to chop and drop those. You see, yesterday I was doing some chop and drop of some of this as well. I haven't finished yet. And this past week I was just building a little shed. Friends of ours use us as a method to throw that stuff away, and then we just make use of their unwanted stuff, which is kind of our philosophy. We always buy second-hand stuff when we can, and go to auctions and garage sales and that, or take freebies. So three or four sides of the shed were given to us, and then I just used a couple of other metal poles that I had, and a door, and a bit of iron, and a bit of glass. And this is just going to be a little shed for our flammables, so all the oil and petrol and lawnmowers and weed eaters and paints and thinners and all that kind of stuff is all going to go up here, because it's away from the house, it's away from big trees, nothing can fall on it, and if there's a fire, hopefully here it's not going to catch light, but if it did catch a light, then like I say, it's far away from the house, it's not going to cause the rest of the house to burn down. So it's kind of a safety thing, and it will also, really importantly, free up my workshop so I can go in and out it easier and work in it. I tend to always take all the tools out and move them to wherever I'm working, and then I'm backwards and forwards getting things that I didn't remember and what I need, and I trip over stuff there and kick stuff all the time. So at least now I can free up some space in the workshop, and I can find things quicker and easier too. It'll be just so much more productive space. Chickens have been up here for a couple of weeks in the food forest area. Quite happy to move as usual. About due to move again this week. This is the top of the kitchen garden, and I'll talk a little bit about fruit trees and the fruit harvest that we've had in the summer. You can see there's still some apples left on this tree, and there's one left on there. So what we've done is we've harvested about half of the apples. we just give them a light little tug, and if they come off, then we take that as being really ripe, and if they don't come off easily, then we leave them. And we've put about half of them into a fridge. Well, it's a chest freezer that I've put a thermostat on to run as a fridge, and that's out on the veranda. So we're storing probably 4 or 5 boxes of apples, 4 or 5 trays of apples, and a tray of pears. And yeah, our fruit harvest has been pretty good. We're happy. The apples really produced a lot of fruit, and it's not too badly stung either, so there's a lot of good fruit. And having stored it in the fridge, we can just, you know, use it bit by bit as we go through the rest of the year, and see how long it lasts us before we have to buy more. You can see the kitchen garden there, the roselle is looking really good. Should start to flower pretty soon. And we've had good season of lots of different tomatoes and lots of other different greens, and we're slowly succession planting with crops now for winter. As we do that, the beds get redone with new newspaper and more hay. But again, the fertility here is very good. We're adding very small amounts of compost. The fertility is coming from our gravity zigzag system, where the animal systems above naturally by gravity nutrient flows down when it rains, and you get overland flow, and it zigzags through the paths, and that's still working very well. And I've done a blog post before about the new duck pens, but I'll quickly show you them here. This one here is kind of just set up with a temporary net because we're still not sure what to do with that. But you can see the Muscovies, a lot of ducklings are now almost adults. Well, they're certainly teenagers. These are the youngest, the last youngest 4. The other ones down the bottom with Indian runners, they're yeah, the male is already mating with some of them, so they really are young adults now. So there's 3 of the youngest Muscovies, and the 4th one on that side. And because we've had such poor rains in the last 6-7 weeks, the grass isn't really growing much here, so I've had to put the hay down and let them out into here, which still doesn't have much grass because it was all excavated, all the stuff was moved out of here, so there's only really weed regrowth. But they are eating some of the weeds that they like, and they like exploring and having a look around. Further down this way, so this area was cleaned up by the Japanese girl that was here when the Norwegian guy was here, and we used the stones that came out to make these little barriers in this low point here where the water normally comes down. Another set here, which over time will probably silt up a little bit and become terraces. And go towards the pig pen, and you can see some of the other ducks hanging out here. There's our adult Indian runners who are laying 1 or 2 eggs a day. There's some of the young ones here and here. Like I say, they're almost adult now. The slowest garden down here is mostly resting. A few tomatoes and zucchini, but the rest of it's just resting. And we've got this Okinawa spinach growing really well. Really happy. Getting harvested a lot. Hello, boy. As usual, we show you pigs. Come on, go, pig, 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 pig. Come on, pig, 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 pig. They're happy it's just rain, but their area is very, very dry too, so. Hello, pig. What are you eating? Hello, pig. Hello, pig. Good pigs. Are you good pigs? Very friendly. Hey pig. The two Peking have settled in with these Indian runners quite happily. The guinea pigs are increasing in numbers. They want some food. This is what we give them. Carrots, broccoli, and then lettuce sometimes from the local restaurant. Obviously it's all vegetarian stuff, so it's good for them to give it away to us. And the guinea pigs do very well on it. They love it. When this runs out, then they back to eating grass and weeds and veggie scraps. There's one under the bottom. He'll come. There's two under the bottom. They'll come out. So they tractor across. You can see where they've been. They're tractoring backwards and forwards across this flattish area, and you can see how much fertilizer they use, how much fertilizer they leave. So this will eventually break down in soil. And besides getting the off-grid caravan finished off, and we've got some people staying there now, and sort of troubleshooting the little problems there and making their place comfortable, that's taken up quite a lot of time actually. You know, the water pump's not working and breaking, and yeah, not lasting very long. The other thing I've been doing is this little rock wall here, and under that blue cover. So now we've got rock wall all the way around the veranda. So there's now a wall all the way there, and what we're going to do is we're going to close this in. Because basically when it does rain, most of the stuff on this veranda gets wet. So we're going to close it in, put a door here, or maybe the other side, I'm not sure yet. And then we'll have an area that we can make better use of and keep stuff dry. Obviously the lawnmower can go up the top now, but we're looking forward to that. There's the chest freezer I was talking about, and we might take the other freezer that's inside, a little one, put it out the front here as well, because we want the house inside to be warm in the winter, so there's no point trying to keep it cold when the ambient temperature outside here will be a lot colder, so it won't use so much energy.